Okay, in this topic, we are going to learn on using sine, cosine, and tangent function, how to make use of sine, cosine, and tangent functions. So the learning objective is to find length of sides and angles in right-angled triangle using the sine and cosine function, okay? And the keywords we have are the sine, cosine, and tangent. But before we embark on this, students should be familiar with the sine, cosine, and tangent functions and be able to evaluate simple expression involving them using their calculator. Now let's look at this first. We have to note that sine theta, theta is the angle. Sine theta simply means opposite over hypotenuse. In our last lesson, we said if we have a right angle triangle, the longest side is what we call the hypotenuse. The longest side and also the side that is opposite to the right angle triangle. Here is the right angle triangle, is it not? So the side opposite to the right angle triangle is the hypotenuse. And the side opposite to the angle is called the opposite. Opposite because it is opposite to the angle. And this one is adjacent because it is adjacent side to the what? Angle. So if the angle is here, as I said in our previous lesson, if the angle is here, that means here now will not be the opposite and here will not be the adjacent. So opposite and adjacent depends on the position of the angle. Why hypotenuse is just the side that is opposite to the right angle. Okay, the right angle, one opposite, and also the one that has the longest side. Okay, so as I was saying that sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine function is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent function is opposite over adjacent. We have to note this, always need this to solve it. Okay, without memorizing this or cramming it, I can have something like we call this SOHCAHTOA. This helps us to memorize the meaning of all. SOHCAHTOA. Now this SOHCAHTOA means SOHCAHTOA. X stands for sine. O stands for opposite over H stands for hypotenuse. You see, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. C stands for what? Cosine. A stands for adjacent. And H stands for hypotenuse. So you see, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. In the same way, tan, T stands for tan. O is the opposite. A is the adjacent. You see that? So tan gives us opposite over adjacent. So use this SOHCAHTOA to memorize it whenever I want to solve a problem like this. You can still use any other thing that will enable you to memorize it, okay? That should be fine. Now let's look at this question. Here this says, find the value of x in each of these triangles. The first one, A, can find the value of x here. Solution. For me to find the value of x, I use the known to find the unknown. Yeah, this is angle given. This is the right angle triangle. That means that here is what? The hypotenuse. This is the angle given. That means that here is what? The opposite. You see that opposite of the angle. Now I'm having opposite and the hypotenuse with the angle. So which function am I going to use? Which of the function am I going to use? If I write down this SOHCAHTOA, here I'm having opposite and the hypotenuse. Opposite and hypotenuse. So which of them give me opposite hypotenuse? Look at this, opposite hypotenuse. That means that I am using sine. I will have this to be sine 46. Sine 46 gives me opposite. Okay, let me start with this. I can have it that sine theta, if that should be our theta, sine theta, which we know is opposite over hypotenuse. That means my theta is now 46. I can have that to be sine 46 is opposite is my x. Hypotenuse is 8. So we can solve our simple simplification here. Cross multiply. We have that x is 8 sine 46 degrees. We have done this before in our previous lesson. So 8 times that will give me what? Check. 8 sine 46. 8 sine 46 gives me what? 5.7. This approximately. We can have that 5.8. So that gives me that my x value is 5.8 cm. That's that. Okay, now the next one I'm going to solve is B part. In this B part, we are asked to find x. I will check. Opposite, not given. This is opposite. Opposite is not given. This is adjacent to the angle. And this is always the hypotenuse. So the one given is adjacent and the hypotenuse. So which of them gives me adjacent and the hypotenuse? Adjacent and hypotenuse. You see that? That means I'm having that to be cos theta gives me adjacent over hypotenuse. And my theta is 24. So cos 24 is adjacent is 11. 11 over hypotenuse is x. So if I cross multiply, I will have that to be 11, that my x will give me what? X will give me 11 divided by cos 24. So 11 divided by cos 24 will give us what? 11 divided by cos 24. That gives us 12, approximately 12 cm. So x value is what? 12 cm. Okay? Now the last one we solve. Here we have this angle here. Okay? This side is the opposite. We are considering the angle. This side is the opposite. This side is the hypotenuse and this side is the adjacent. You see it, hypotenuse is the longest side and is opposite to the right angle. Okay? Now what we needed there is the adjacent and the opposite. See that? So which angle contain adjacent and opposite? Adjacent and opposite. No, adjacent and opposite. Look at this. This contain adjacent and opposite. So we are talking about that tan theta is opposite. Opposite is opposite over what? Adjacent. Opposite over adjacent. Then theta is 34. Sin 34. Opposite is what? 6. Adjacent is x. So if I cross multiply, x gives me what? 6 over 10, 36. 34. So x gives me what? I'll check 6 divided by tan 34. 6 divided by tan 34. We have that to be what? 8.89 approximately. I can have it to be 9 or 8.9. So that gives me what? 8.9 cm. So 8.9 cm is the answer. Okay, now let's look at this final example. Here we are asked to find the value of x in each of the triangles. Now for me to find the value of x here, now we are talking about theta. First of all, I need to bring out my SOHCAHTOA. Okay. Fine. This will enable me to solve my problem faster. Now the first one, A, we have this to be, this is angle theta. We have opposite. This is opposite. And this is hypotenuse. You see that? So which one contains opposite and hypotenuse? Opposite hypotenuse is sine. That means if I have my sine theta, simply means opposite over hypotenuse. My theta is x. I'm looking for x. Sine x is opposite, is 11. Hypotenuse is 16. So sine x will give me what? 11 over 16 is what? 11 divided by 16. That gives us 0.6875. 0.6875. Please, this is not the answer. For you to find x from the previous class we did, we look for x simply means the sine inverse. Sine inverse of 0.6875. So what is the sine inverse of this? Shift sine inverse of 0.6875. That gives us 43 approximately. So the angle here is 43 degrees. Don't leave it this way, okay? Now in the second part we talk about here, we have that this is what? Okay, here is opposite. Hypotenuse, here is adjacent. So which one contains opposite and adjacent? Opposite and adjacent time. Therefore, we have that time theta is opposite over adjacent, and theta is x. We have tan x is opposite is what? 3.5. Adjacent is what? 4. So tan x will give us 3.5 divided by 4. 3.5 divided by 4. We have 0.875. 0.875. For me to find x, I mean what? The tan inverse of 0.875. So what is the tan inverse of 0.3785? The tan inverse of 0.875 gives me what? 41. See that? So we have this to be what? 41 degree. So in the same way, you can equally solve this. So you do that and give me the answer. Okay, fine. Opposite, adjacent. Opposite, adjacent. Same way we solve this. So this can equally give us, okay, when you solve that, this is what we have. So look at this and know how to solve it. And the answer is 7.5. So thank you for listening.